Let's talk about that quiet panic that no one wants to admit. You're posting, you're showing up, you're doing all the right things online, and still nothing. No comments, no leads, no momentum. And if you're being totally honest with yourself, you're thinking, am I just invisible online? If that's you, then stick around, my friend, because today I'm sharing the 10 sneaky things that are keeping you invisible online and keeping you from getting those leads and clients that you so desperately want. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Number 1, you're not actually showing up. I know this one sounds obvious and you're thinking, no, I'm showing up. But most of the time when I'm speaking to agents, the number one thing that I hear is I'm showing up and no one is contacting me. I'm not getting any leads. I don't have any new clients. And my first question is always, well, where are you showing up? What do you mean by showing up? And the answer ranges from I post on Instagram once a week. I post on LinkedIn once a week. I send out a newsletter once a month. I'm showing up and nothing's happening. And here's the truth. If you're just showing up once in a while, if you don't have a plan, if you're not being consistent, if you're not actually visible, then people can't find you. And I know that sounds so obvious, but oftentimes we're so busy in our businesses that we forget about the visibility part of it. We forget that we need to be visible in order for people to actually know that we exist. And whenever people talk to me about visibility, I think about my friend who once upon a time called me and was so upset that he hadn't found his knight in shining armor yet. And I was like, well, what are you doing to find your knight in shining armor? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, you're kind of a homebody. You like to stay at home. You don't like to party. You don't like to go out. You don't like to do things very much. Do you just expect him to come knock on the door and say, here I am? And he paused for a second. He goes, well, yeah, I guess that is what I'm expecting. And I had to be a little brutal with him and say, well, if you're not out there, we're talking no dating sites, no nothing. If you're not out there at all, no social media accounts, no websites, no going out of your home, it's going to be far less likely that your knight in shining armor is going to find you, right? Visibility is the name of the game. The more visible you are, the more out there you are, the more likely you are to attract people to you, right? So if you are feeling invisible online, I want you to be really, really honest with yourself and ask yourself, how often am I really showing up? Are you showing up daily in some way? And it doesn't always have to be a really long, crazy Instagram post. It can be showing up on IG stories for 5 seconds just to remind people that you exist. It can be sending out a newsletter to your database just to remind them that you exist. It can be posting on Pinterest, posting on LinkedIn, making some phone calls. Whatever it is, you have to remind the world that you exist. And I'm going to be a little bit blunt with you. It has to happen daily. Every day, in some small way, you should be making an effort to show up in some way. It doesn't matter how. And the strategy will evolve over time and you'll get more comfortable doing it and you'll figure out ways that feel best to you. But if you're not showing up, you're not standing out and people aren't seeing you or being able to find you. They don't know that you exist. So number 1, show up. Number 2, you're hiding behind your business. Now, hands up if you feel way more comfortable posting business stuff than personal stuff online. Meaning when you show up on Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest or wherever, you're sharing things like your new listing, market stats, just sold, tips and tricks for buyers that have absolutely no personality. They're just tips that you could find off of Google. Hands up if that feels way more comfortable and way safer than actually building your personal brand online, than actually showing up and sharing who you are. I know that I felt that way for years and years and years until I realized one key point. People buy from people. People work with people that they like, full stop. And they can't know if they like you if you're hiding behind your business all the time. So those market stats that you're sharing, how can you weave a little bit of yourself in them? Could it be, if you're too shy to talk on camera, could it be just posting, having the background be a lifestyle shot of yourself so that they get connected to who you are? Just a little bit of brand recognition there. Or if you do feel comfortable showing up on camera, then can you talk about the market stats instead of just posting market stats on your feed? When you're doing a just listed, is there a way to integrate yourself into some of the photos. You know, it doesn't have to be all of them, but maybe when you show up on IG stories, you can show yourself having a coffee in the kitchen. Show yourself sitting on the couch, enjoying the couch. Is there a way for you to integrate yourself into your content so that it's not always you hiding behind a quote, a testimonial, a market stat, a teaching or tip post? The more you get comfortable with integrating yourself into every single piece of content that you create, the more people are going to connect with it on a more personal level. And that's what we want, because at the end of the day, people work with people that they like. Number 3, you're following an outdated playbook, probably one from 1994. Let me know if this is you in the comments. Your brokerage is telling you things like send out just solds, make sure to ask for referrals, sending postcards to your farm is a really, really good idea. If that's the advice that you're getting, then you're getting old advice. It's not that it's wrong, it's just not updated for the current marketing landscape. So what does that mean? Number 1, stop posting just listed and just solds. Instead, add context, add story. Instead of something like sold in 2 days, you can try this home sold in 48 hours. Here's exactly why. Break down the prep, the marketing, or the negotiation process. This is how you get people interested instead of them scrolling on by thinking, so what? So what? So it's sold in 2 days. How is that relevant to me? So what do? We incorporate story. We make it relevant. We make it more engaging. We make it more personal to them. Number 2, stop saying referrals appreciated. Take that out of your email signature. Saying your business is based on referrals and you would like theirs is asking. And that's an antiquated way of doing it. It doesn't work anymore. We are in a culture that expects you to give before you receive. And that means all you need to do is make one little tweak in order for that sentence in your email signature to make a huge difference. Are you ready for it? Instead of saying referrals appreciated or whatever version of that is for you, you change it to know someone who's thinking of buying or selling in the next 6 months, send them this resource. You're giving them value that they can then forward to a friend. Instead of asking for something, you are giving them a free resource right in your email signature to send to somebody else. All right, the next thing that's keeping you invisible online is your idea that pretty equals powerful. Those beautiful, pretty templates that you're buying, those beautiful templates that you want to get your hands on and that you're using in the Canva library or even in my membership or somewhere else, you're grabbing these pretty graphics and you're thinking, this is what I've needed my whole life. This beautiful graphic is going to solve all of my problems. Now, I'm a graphic designer by trade. It is what I do. It is what I trained for. It is what I know. And I can tell you, the majority of people that I personally buy from have the ugliest sales pages I have ever seen. And the reason is this: they were persuasive. It didn't matter that they had an ugly sales page. Their message was powerful. Their message said, I know what you're going through. I understand your pain point. I know how you're feeling and I can help you. And that was all I cared about. So what do? Create content that meets your clients where they're at. Figure out who your ideal client avatar is. Understand their pain points. Understand what they need to hear from you right now and speak to that. Then the pretty graphic is fine. Go ahead, use pretty graphics, but make sure your message is there. The 5th thing keeping you invisible, having the same look that everyone else has, copying a successful realtor's aesthetic because they're successful, trying to get a really the clean minimalist aesthetic because that's what you think success looks like, instead of really asking yourself what you like and how you can make it your own. Once you're very honest about what colors you like, what fonts you like, what imagery you like, and you commit to it 100%, and every single template that you buy or use from the Canva library is adjusted to meet that new aesthetic, you are differentiating yourself. You are standing out. You are not blending in with all the other real estate agents who love the modern minimal look. For 6, your bio or handle say nothing. So when people land on your profile page on Instagram, for example, or land on your website or anywhere where you have some sort of write-up about who you are, what does that actually say about you? Are you standing out, or does it sound like every single other real estate bio out there? there. For example, on Instagram, are you saying things like helping you home or making dreams come true or realtor, mom, coffee lover? Writing what everyone else is writing, doing what everyone else is doing is a way to remain invisible. Instead, we have to bring it back to our ideal client again. What do they need to hear from us? How do we connect with that one person that we want to work with? So for example, instead of saying helping buyers and sellers navigate the real estate journey, you could say Toronto agent for design savvy buyers who want a home that fits their life and Pinterest board. Or you could say who you help and how. For example, realtor for first time buyers who don't want to feel dumb asking questions, or helping creative millennials buy their first home with confidence. Or more than just a realtor, I help you feel ready. These are all meeting your ideal client where they're at and differentiating you from everybody else out there. You should always think of your bio or your about page or anywhere where you're talking about yourself as a mini movie trailer, and then you think about your ideal client. Would they want to watch that movie after watching that trailer, or in this case, reading your bio? Would they want to binge on your content after reading your bio? And if not, just rewrite it until it makes them say, wait, that sounds exactly like me. I definitely need this stuff. Number 7, this is my favorite one. You're still writing like you're in university or college, or if you didn't go to either, high school. How are we taught to write in all 3 of these places? We're taught to write academically. We're taught to write in a way that makes us sound intelligent. We are taught to defend our thesis. And in order to do that, we sound dry and without any personality. And I had to work so hard to get that out of my brain when I started marketing myself online. I had to really sit down and record myself and start analyzing how I speak in real life in order to mimic that in my writing. And it took a long time to unlearn that. But if you're still doing that, if you're still showing up and thinking that you need to sound polished and professional, remember the cardinal rule, the one that we said at the very beginning of this video. People work with people they like. And it's very hard to like someone that sounds like a robot. Instead, think about how you make friends. The last time you made friends, how did you sound? What did you say? What were the conversations about? Like, how did you get people to like you? How do you get people to like you? If you're in a service-based industry like real estate, then I'm willing to bet that you have some tricks up your sleeve to make yourself more likable. Those tricks need to come through in your writing online as well. And if it's not, if it sounds robotic, then your job is to make it sound less robotic. And I'm going to give you my number 1 tip. Don't write any captions. Don't write your about page. Don't write anything. Talk it out. So I use Otter AI whenever I'm creating a training, even this YouTube video, I speak it out. I do a whole bunch of talking it out, talking all my ideas out, and then it will give me a summary of what I've just said. And from that point, I can hand that to ChatGPT and say, hey, can you create a caption? Can you create a YouTube outline for me? Can you create a newsletter? Whatever it is that I want. But because it has my voice, because I've just been speaking about it, it can make it sound exactly like me. And so that's what we need to do. Stop trying to type out your ideas. Start talking your ideas out so that your voice, your natural voice, is always there. Number 8, you're scared to get personal. This one is a question I get asked all the time. Should I have a personal account and a business account? For example, on Instagram, my answer is always the same. You are the personal account. Your brand is the personal account. You wanting to separate the personal from the business means you don't understand what it means to build a personal brand. Because no matter how you're showing up on the personal, that is your brand. What you choose to share on your personal page is a far better seller than anything you could put on your professional page. Because, say it with me folks, people work with people they like. Your personal page is painting a far more likable picture than your business page. So what do? We sandwich them together. And you no longer create content that's just for business. You show up in your personal capacity to build your personal brand, and you're showing up and sharing your kid's soccer game. You're showing up and sharing this and that and the other. And you're doing it in a way that in the back of your mind, you're thinking, how can I tie this back to real estate? How can I remind all my friends and family and everybody who's following me now that I'm a real estate agent, right? It's putting the personal back into your profession. That's the key here. So instead of being scared of getting personal, embrace how you show up on your personal pages. Embrace it and know that that is how you build your personal brand. Number 9, you're not showing up with opinions or original thought or polarizing views. You're just copying and pasting from Google, or I call it being the Wikipedia of real estate. No one wants that. If we want that, we can find it ourselves. We can Google 3 tips to selling a home, 3 tips to buying a home, 3 tips to staging a home. We don't want that anymore. Now what we want is your take, your opinion, your story. So instead of 3 tips to staging a home, we want to hear about how you had coffee last Wednesday with your stager and she dropped these 3 truth bombs that blew your mind about staging. That is far more effective content than 3 tips to staging your home. Do you see? We want the personal. You're showing up, you're creating a personal connection, you're sharing a little bit of who you are because you're sharing your personality. You are telling people that you have a stager on call, which adds to your professional toolkit, right? This isn't an article that you found online. This is actual personal relevant information. So instead of sharing things that are always shared or things that you might get from a membership that tells you, okay, this is good content, 3 ways to do this, 3 tips for this, 5 ways that you should be doing this, 5 things to avoid, stop doing this, start doing this. All of that content is great as a starting off point, but you should always filter it through one question. How do I feel about this? What can I add to that? How do I truly feel about that? So inside of the Mark Collective, we have all of these social posts and they are like, stop using Zillow to figure out the value of your home, something like that, whatever it is. That's a starting off point. All of those things that you find online, they're starting off points. They are there to help give you ideas. And then you ask yourself, what is your opinion? Do you have a personal story? Do you have a story where a client did go onto Zillow, found all of this misinformation, and you had to steer them right? You know, so instead of stop using Zillow, your headline could be how Zillow screwed over my client or almost screwed over my client, right? And now that content is so much better than stop using Zillow, right? So we want to bring our own ideas, our own experiences, our own polarizing views into the conversation. So always use prompts as a jumping off point and ask yourself, what can I add to this? And the last thing keeping you invisible online is something that I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear. You're not showing your face. We do not even know what you look like. We have one headshot, one thumbnail that shows a little itty bitty headshot of you. And other than that, we have no idea what you look like. If you are not showing your face, you might as well be invisible. So here's what you're going to do to fix it. You're going to grab your iPhone or whatever phone you use. You're going to ask a friend to snap 10 lifestyle shots of you. Okay. You can go onto Pinterest, find inspiration for the shots, you know, so that you're not there in real life thinking, what do I want to do? Pose. Like you don't want that. So maybe go and find 10 inspirational shots that you're going to try to mimic. Then get your friend to take those shots and then use those 10 lifestyle shots repeatedly in your marketing. So any free guide that you're giving people, make sure you're using those lifestyle shots on your website, on your social media. We have entered an amazing time when you could take a photo with your iPhone and it looks just as good, if not better, than one taken by a professional. And I speak from experience here because my favorite photo shoot to date is still the one that my partner took of me. I still have yet. I hired 2 professional photographers since that time, and neither one were as good as that 2022 one. You want to know why? Because I trust him. Because I could say things like, hey, dude, double chin, take it again. You know, like I felt so comfortable with him and he was able to make me laugh and make me feel like myself that these pictures turned out beautifully and professionally and I can use them all the time, right? So make sure that you're choosing somebody that you can trust, that you can have a good time with. You're going to end up with really great shots. You do not need to hire a professional, but you absolutely can if that's in your budget. I'm not saying don't hire a professional. I love my professional shots. I really, really do. But I just love that I can always turn to my partner and say, hey, I need 10 new shots. Can you take them of me? And they turn out pretty darn well. That is it. Those are the 10 sneaky ways that are keeping you invisible online. I hope this video was helpful. And if it was, just drop your comments below. Let me know and I'll create more content like this. And just remember this, if you show up more than you did last week, then you're already ahead of 95% of the people out there. And if I can do it, and I used to literally, not joking, this is not a joke, this is not an exaggeration, I used to throw up before even creating pre-recorded stuff like this, then you can do it too. I promise you. And that's it, my friends. I will speak to you next time. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you for watching In Mel's Mind. Bye.